I wanted to switch gears, if I could, Tom, to Sun City Cell, which is the documentary that, for the record, put together here at The Blaze. It's airing tonight at 8 Eastern, and you had some role in this. Please tell us about Sun City Cell and what you did.
Well, you know, a lead character in the documentary tonight is Chris Farrell, who's our lead investigator, runs our investigations and research department. He's a former counterintelligence officer with the United States Army. And I can tell you that Judicial Watch, through Chris and our other colleagues on our investigative and journalist staff, have uncovered shocking information at the border. Basically that the drug cartels and the terrorists are working together. We found there's an ISIS cell in Mexico, and we also found that the Al-Qaeda's chief of operations had been flying into New Mexico from Mexico, and had planned in 2009 with another Al-Qaeda operative and two others associated with the cartels to bomb Oprah Winfrey's studios in Chicago and the Sears Tower. And rather than roll these folks up, the FBI was thankfully able to stop the bomb plot. Bomb materials, by the way, that was which were partially imported from Mexico and partially obtained from Fort Bliss, the major military installation there near El Paso. But the FBI, after they stopped that plot, they didn't publicize it, and in fact tried to run one of the terrorists who later showed up in Chicago not too long ago waving an ISIS flag. He was arrested and then unbelievably released. This is unbelievable work, and the results are startling, and I think they ought to call attention to the fact that the security issues on the border are an existential threat to the United States and our safety. And we have politicians talking about amnesty and you know, irrelevant stuff when you're talking about our nation's security.
They don't understand the threat picture,
or
they don't understand the threat picture, or they don't care. Tom, before we go, I wanted to ask you that one of the aspects of the documentary, again, Sun City Cell airing tonight for the first time, 8 Eastern time on TheBlaze TV. One of the aspects of this that comes up, and we've been talking about it, is corruption at high levels. Did you and your team, was there corruption that's going on at the border as well? It's one thing to say the bad guys are coming and they've been trying. It's another thing to say that people who are supposed to be stopping them aren't doing their jobs. Is that happening as well?
Well, you have that where the FBI is looking the other way and other senior security officials are looking the other way. And, you know, that's obviously a form of corruption. But when you think of the billions of dollars in drug money down there, our information is, in some ways, it's a question of who isn't on the take versus who is on the take. And
certainly on the other side of the border with the cartels.
It's a surprise to no one. Right. I mean, it's a surprise to no one who thinks about it more than a minute, but you raise it in Washington and you raise it with leaders in Washington who ought to know better, they get apoplectic. And I can tell you, I mean, we start reporting about ISIS being in Mexico, and the FBI director is talking about thousands of investigations into ISIS activities here in the United States and investigations in each and every one of the 50 states, and yet we mention ISIS in Mexico, and everyone says it's not true.
Right. All of a sudden,
so we have Mexico, we have ISIS all over the United States.
That's the only place where it
Mexico.
doesn't exist. Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch.
So
thank you very much for joining us. We got to leave it there. Sun City Cell tonight, 8 Eastern time. Tom, thank you very much for joining us. Here's a clip from tonight's documentary, Sun City Cell, premiering at 8 p.m. Eastern on The Blaze.
I think this whole story, this whole narrative is a game changer on the border debate, because what we're talking about is a national security threat. This is a question of whether or not our border is secure from terrorists who want to destroy America.
Farrell says that the North American narco-terror network is what allowed al-Qaeda operatives to move freely inside the United States.
For Shukr Juma to travel into the United States with El-Baneh is a calculated risk because of the vulnerability to them being most wanted terrorists and why they would fly into the United States. The flip side of that is that, from their perspective, there's no more secure place to operate in the United States because of the level of compromise in El Paso. They had a very high assurance that there'd be no action taken against them.
Sun City Cell.